Boar's Head invites you to enlighten your senses. Introducing Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. Inspired by Japanese master chefs, our signature teriyaki glaze is crafted with garlic, ginger, and a hint of brown sugar, then paired with our tender, slow-roasted chicken breast for a flavor that's sweet, savory, remarkably bold. Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken, the bold flavor of Japan. Now available at your local Publix deli.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Florida Boy Sports. I'm Steve O'Reilly, joined with my co-host Fabian Washington. Fabe, how you doing tonight, partner?
What's up, my boy Steve O?
Ready to get it in. Another night.
Absolutely.
Got a lot of great topics on deck tonight. We're going to jump right in, ladies and gentlemen, with the hot topic that has dominated not only the sports world, but basically everywhere you turn. Everyone's been talking about Colin Kaepernick and his refusal to stand for the national anthem prior to the beginning of the football games out in San Francisco. Fabian, the floor is yours, sir. I will allow you to say what you got to say.
Hey, you know me, Steve-O. You know me a few years now, and you know I'm absolutely rocking with Colin Kaepernick, and I love what Brandon Marshall did last night. No disrespect at all to the soldiers that fight for this country. Let's get that straight. We have to keep the narrative of what Cap is saying in front of us. He's talking about injustices in law, which, as a minority, a black male, I know a lot about. You know, growing up in the hood, I grew up in the hood. Hey, cops would stop us from walking home from school. What are you doing? I'm walking home. What do you mean, what am I doing? And sometimes, yeah, we would get an attitude with them for asking us that because we weren't doing anything at the time. Or it's other instances where I bought my mom a home and my brother is walking home from work and a cop stops to ask him, what is he doing in this neighborhood? So when my brother gets home, he explains me the story, and of course, I was livid. I was pissed. I'm like, dude, if this ever happens again, call me, and I will come there in a hurry. You know why? Because I moved my mom out of the hood so we wouldn't have these problems. I don't want cops harassing me or my family for our skin color. So I told him, call me if this ever happened again. Luckily, it's never happened again. I can talk about my self issues with law enforcement for me being me. I lived in Oakland for 3 years. I lived in Oakland Hills. Anyone from California, Oakland Hills is a beautiful neighborhood, has beautiful houses, everything. And for a month straight, I called it harassment because I was getting pulled over at least once a week coming down the hill, because you got to go down the hill to get to work. It's usually about 7 o'clock when I'm heading to work, and I would get pulled over at least once a week by the same cop. That was the crazy part about it. By the same exact cop. I've never been issued a ticket, never been issued a warning, nothing. He would pull me over and tell me that my windows are tinted. I'm like, I know my windows are tinted. They're well below the legal limit. So this would happen and happen. And then I still remember, I think it was my second year, I just started camp with the Raiders. I think I'm like 2 days in, and I actually left my truck at home, and my brother would drive it. Well, I didn't know my brother didn't have a license. So one day he's driving the truck down the hill, and he gets pulled over, and they take my truck away. They impounded my truck, which that's the right call because he didn't have license. He shouldn't have been driving my truck without license. So I explained to one of my coaches, and it just so happened to be the same exact cop again. So I explained to one of my coaches, Coach Willie Brown. I said, Coach, this is the same cop that harasses me all the time when I'm coming down the hill to go to work. That's the only way I can get to work. I can't take another route. So he was like, all right, I have someone downtown I could call, and he told me I'm going to need you to go get your truck. I had to miss a day of practice. It was like, I need you to go get your truck because every day it's in the impound lot, that's like $150. I'm like, okay. And it was like, and he told me he would excuse me from practice, and I went to go get my truck, and he called me. When I got back to camp in Napa, he told me, Fabian, don't worry, that cop won't mess with you again. And I was like, hey, I appreciate it. And that was the end of that. But as you see, I was just being picked on. I don't know why. I don't know why he was picking on me. I would think it's my skin color, but it is what it is. It didn't happen again from that point once I told one of my coaches. Now, Cap is speaking on injustices in law enforcement, and America is deflecting the situation and going to the soldiers. Absolutely no one wants to disrespect our soldiers. You would be crazy to want to disrespect our soldiers. But you see, this is what Cap gets when he takes a knee. You have people saying all kind of ignorant stuff about him, and then they're saying he should move. Why should he have to move? Why should he have to leave the country? Why can't we address the issues that he's talking about? That's my thing. Address the issues. Like, just say, for instance, I just did a Google search today, just looking up white. This is exactly what I Googled. White man points gun at cop versus black man points gun at cop. This was the narrative. White male fires shot at cop, arrested. White male points gun at cop, arrested. White male waving gun around, arrested. Here's the narrative for blacks. Black male points gun at cop. You know what happens. He's dead. Unarmed black man shot by cop. Unarmed black male shot by cop. Unarmed black male shot by cop. And then every single time it happens, officer felt for his life. Well, they don't fear for their life when white people have guns pointed at them. That's where us as minorities, black people, we're sick of that. We always have to read the stories where, okay, this white guy did this, but we know for a fact if it was a male black, he's dead. He doesn't get his day in court at all. He's dead. And those are some of the things that I think the people are afraid to talk about. Instead, they want to deflect the situation, like I say, and put it off on the soldiers, And that's just me. I'm very passionate about the situation because I've been in some issues where I didn't feel right. It was justified why either I was pulled over or why I'm getting questioned. And I would have to say there isn't any black males that say they haven't had a run-in with the law. If there are, they're living in a box because every black male I know, and I know them I know people who single parent homes, 2 parents in a home, in the hood, in the suburbs, everywhere. You get harassed by the cops because of your skin color. We know this, but no one wants to say this. And I'll say this, Steve, I played in the NFL. We get critiqued all the time. No problem. We signed up for that. The person at McDonald's, if your burger isn't right, they have to face the fact that your burger wasn't right. A doctor, if he does something wrong, gets critiqued. I've never seen a profession where every time something goes wrong, the cops are in the right. Like, how is this possible? Are you the only profession in the world where 100% of the time you're right? It's like, when are they going to face the fact and say, yes, we were wrong in this situation? And then the times that they do arrest cops for killing minorities, from what I've been reading, the cops get off. They get off. I know for a fact if I shoot anybody that's unarmed, they taking my black ass to jail, Steve. I might not get out. It's that simple. It's like, I understand their job is very tough. I'm talking about very tough. And I have friends that are cops, talk to them all the time. And my daughter's grandfather he just retired from being a sheriff. So I know a lot about cops, and I try to be sensitive to the fact that they have I think the job is very tough. And you have to give them the benefit of the doubt sometimes. But when will they step up and be like, oh, we were wrong? That's what we want to hear. Oh, yes, we were wrong. Not all the time you have a story to cover up what you did wrong. It's like, man, just face the facts. No one's perfect. No one's perfect at their job. So therefore, you're going to make mistakes. Accept the mistakes. Let us know you made a mistake. Okay, people probably would be able to live with that instead of trying to cover it up all the time. So that's my thing. That's my take on the situation. And
Fair.
I'm gonna leave it there, Steve. And that's the last time we're going to talk about it.
Hold on. I get to talk about it.
Oh, no, absolutely. You get to talk about it, but I'm talking about after tonight, we're done with this.
Absolutely. It's time to put it to bed. But here's
Absolutely.
my 2 cents. I will never, ever understand what it's like to live as a black man in America. I can't walk a mile in your shoes. I can empathize. I can think about it. I can be around it, but I won't know what it's like. In the same token, I won't know what it's like to be a police officer either, because I have never lived that life. I've never walked a beat. I've never been involved in seeing the things that they've seen on a day in and day out basis. With that said, back to Colin Kaepernick, I think that the most important aspect here is that America affords you the right to exercise your First Amendment and have the freedom of speech and the freedom of expression. You know, I constantly hear people saying that, you know, he's un-American, and in my opinion, he's very American. I think the whole mindset of being an American is to see something that you disagree with and having the ability to say, I disagree. You know, this isn't a fascist state. It's not communism where if you disagree with government, you get, you know, all of a sudden you disappear. So if Kaepernick feels that there's an injustice that's systemic, that it's not necessarily just police officers, but it's the entire judicial system. It's the sentences that judges give out that are, look at the kid from Stanford, for example. He rapes a woman behind a dumpster. He gets 6 months. He's out in 3 months because the judge didn't want to impede on his future. Here you have a running back from the University of Vanderbilt, and he did the same exact crime. He had raped a woman that was unconscious. The charges were exactly the same, and he got 15 to 25 years minimum. So perception is reality. When people look at this and say, see what I mean? On one hand, this kid's out in 3 months, and on the other hand, this guy's doing a 600% longer sentence. Now, people may disagree with the way that Kaepernick is going about it. They may feel that he's disrespecting the flag. They may feel he's disrespecting the military. and they feel that anger and that angst. And what I say to that is, now you kind of have a little feeling and a little taste of what the minorities and the black culture in America goes through every day. They have that feeling of anger and upset and angst when they turn on the news and they see Trayvon Martin shot and killed, or they see Freddie Gray's spine was severed in a vehicle on his way to the jail, but yet nobody's held accountable for it. That creates that same feeling of, oh, this makes me mad. And not that two wrongs make a right, but at least you kind of get the understanding that there is something wrong. There is something that needs to be addressed. We have to look at it as its entirety. We have to say, okay, we can't continue to just keep locking people up, put them in prison, and think that's the answer. We have to make a concerted effort in this country to get to people at an earlier age. We can't just ignore the problem and think it'll get better. We have to educate. We have to provide outlets for young kids in America that are in inner cities and that are in troubled areas to avoid a life of crime. And we also have to do a much better job of taking the fear out of the black man. Any way you look at it, white people are scared of black men, whether it's because the crime rates are where they're at or whatever reason you want to give it. You see time and time again, officers are acting more in fear, in my opinion, than they are in racial hatred. I think that they're scared, for a lack of a better word. You see a lot of situations like the kid in Minnesota. He is legally carrying a firearm. He has his 4-year-old child in the back seat, and he has a broken tail light. He tells the officer that he has a firearm on him, and yet the cop shoots 4 times into the vehicle with a 4-year-old kid as soon as he sees a firearm. Does he really think in the back of his head that they're going to get into a shootout over a broken taillight and a $70 citation ticket? It just doesn't compute to me. But what does compute is he's afraid. He sees this weapon. He sees, a black man, and he gets heightened. Maybe he's conditioned due to his job. Maybe he sees time and time again that these situations can escalate quickly. There's a lot of things that go on, but to turn around and just say, you know what, Kaepernick, shut up, move out of the country if you don't like it, is not the right answer. We are afforded the right to have freedom of expression. We are afforded the right to stand up and say something that you think needs to be addressed. It's ironic to me that we have a presidential candidate who is going around saying that this country is not great right now. We need to make America great again. And everybody buys into that, and that's okay. But on the other hand, if you challenge America, you need to get out. Well, if Donald Trump thinks America is not so great, why doesn't he get out? I mean, what's good for the goose has to be good for the gander, in my opinion. So, there's ways to go about it. Maybe people disagree with the way he's going about his message, but the bottom line is people are talking about it. It's gotten the country's attention, so it served its purpose. And many, 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 many times I've heard the national media, I've heard pundits say, all these athletes have all this power, they have all this attention, they should use it for something that's positive. They should try to make a difference. They should try to really influence society. And then the first moment that someone does make a stand to influence society, we do everything that we can to bash him and make him look like he's a bad person. I mean, I looked at the tweets that he received after the first time it became national news, and it was littered with racial slurs. And I don't understand, what is that going to accomplish? The hatred that comes out in people is remarkable. So obviously it touched a nerve with a lot of people, and obviously they don't want to listen. They don't care about what the other side has to say, And to give you a quick story, when I was 19 years old, I had to give a friend of mine a ride home for Thanksgiving up in South Bronx on Jerome Avenue. which was in the projects. And as soon as I pulled into that neighborhood, a van of cops literally blocked off the front of my car, and another van of cops came in behind me and basically said there's absolutely no way that a car from Connecticut with white people in this neighborhood is not here on some kind of drug deal. You're just not. So I sat there for hours while they took my seats apart. They had canine dogs. They searched every little piece of my car looking for contraband, looking for drugs. Of course, they didn't find anything. I was just giving a friend that I knew from Connecticut a ride home to see his parents. But that feeling of you're guilty until you prove you're innocent was there. I felt it. I didn't like it. So to have to deal with that every single day of your life, to be followed when you go shopping because you're probably a pickpocket, to be pulled over because you, quote, fit a description, to be, if you're successful and you do have money, I'm sure you've heard it a lot because you are wealthy and you drive a nice car and you have a nice house. So I'm sure you hear, oh, are you a pro athlete? And then behind their breath is probably, or he sells drugs. I mean, you're either a drug dealer or you're a pro athlete. I mean, that's the reality of it, and it's unfortunate, but we have to figure out a way to just to make it equal for everyone, and I think it starts early. Frederick Douglass said that it's easier to build strong children than it is to repair broken men. And I totally believe that to be true in America. We have so much money and assets for things across the world and different things that we want to build and create. And we give, just yesterday I saw on the news, we're giving $3 million to Laos to find a bunch of old bombs from Vietnam. But yet Chicago is ignored. Like the south side of Chicago is just going to fix itself, or the inner cities in the Bronx, or all of these impoverished areas where there's desperation, there's poverty, there's a lack of hope. So what are they going to do? What are people that are born into these situations going to do? Are they just going to sit there and rot? They're going to do whatever they have to do in order to survive. So I think that we need to make a concerted effort into building more libraries, to having more programs that help children in the area become smarter, become more compassionate for human life, to not just think it's okay to smoke a fool, if you will. You know what I mean? The whole mantra of the hip-hop generation for a long time was, got to be hard. You got to be a roughneck, right? MC Light, she said you got to be a roughneck or you ain't going to get with her, right? You got to be a roughneck. Everybody's got to be hard because the environment they live in, if you're soft, you're going to be a target. You can't be soft. You got to be tough. And with that tough guy mentality comes the image of you should fear me. So if I fear you, now you're saying, but don't fear me. I'm not scary. I'm just like everybody else. Well, it's kind of a catch-22 in some ways. Either you're scary and we fear you, or you're not scary and you're not feared. You see what I'm saying? So there has to kind of be a 360 perspective. It can't just be, everybody, against Colin, and it can't just be, everything, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's got to play their part from the beginning. You're going to build a liquor store on every corner of the ghetto, then you could put a library in down the street too. It can be a 360-degree perspective that is good for America. America is a house. If your garage was just shit, you just have rats and cockroaches and just shit everywhere, but you live upstairs in the penthouse. You never go in the basement. You don't go out there. So it doesn't matter to you, right? But then when you do open the door and see what's going on down there, you go, oh, my God, I can't look at this. Look at these heathens. I can't believe they let it get like this. Well, we all live in the same house. Wouldn't you go down there and clean it up? Put a little bit of equity into it, put a little time, effort, and energy to make sure that these kids are raised right, that they stay away from gangs, that they stay away from drugs, that they stay away from, prostitutes and all these abandoned buildings that are havens for crack houses and they're havens for child molestation. And, who cares, right? It doesn't matter because I'm going to pull into a gated community and I got a tea time tomorrow with, 3 other rich fat cats. So it's irrelevant to me. I could just sit and talk about it. But if I actually walk the walk, you would make the change. And I think that we need a little bit more compassion and a little bit more empathy. But as far as Kaepernick's concerned, he has every right to say and do what he wants to say and do. You may not agree with his message, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have the right to say the message. The Santa Clara police comes out and says that they're not going to provide any services for, the local football games at, in San Francisco if the NFL doesn't take a stance against Kaepernick. Well, that's ironic because I've seen a lot of Ku Klux Klan rallies where there's police there making sure that their First Amendment is protected. So do you agree with their message? You can't agree with that message, do you? But yet you're there to protect their First Amendment. So it's not about the message. It's about your right to do it. And that's all I got to say about that.
You did a good job, Steve. I love it.
Anyway,
now, we put
let's
that
talk football.
To bed. We put that to bed. Now, let's talk football for real. What's up,
Let's
Steve?
talk about last night's game. Let's just jump right in and talk about my world champion Denver Broncos because they, 30, let's see, I'm 41. I became a fan when I was 6. So I got 35 years of fandom. So, yeah, there's a little homerage going on there. But anyway, what did you think of Trevor Siemian in his first start? He was the hot topic going in. Nobody knew about the quarterback position. What do you think?
First and foremost, I have to apologize to Trevor Siemian because our last show, I didn't even know the kid's name. All I knew was he was from Orlando. And I would have to apologize for that. And I want to give him big ups for being a Florida boy. We are Florida boy sports. You got to show Florida boy some love. All right.
Florida boy.
His play last night, I thought he played about as good as you could possibly play for that to be your first game. I actually tweeted, I said, the Broncos are the better team at this point. They just keep turning the ball over. They would have a drive, and then here comes a turnover. Mm-hmm. Have another great drive. Here comes the turnover. And one thing I did like to see out of Siemian is when it wasn't there, he used his legs. He got out of there. He used his gifts to get him out of trouble. It was some things that I didn't like. I just gave him credit on using his legs, but at time I think he didn't go through his progression as he should have, because it was plays there to be made. But I think, by it being his first game, things were going so fast, he just did what was natural to him. Hey,
right.
If I'm in trouble, get out of there.
Yeah, plus he burps the baby too much. And for non-football people, that means he taps the ball before he throws it. And he does. Instead of just catching it, and you saw it on the batted ball that was intercepted. Instead of just catching it and throwing it, he catches it, he taps it, and then he throws it, which gave Ely enough time to get up and bat it in the air for an interception. He doesn't need to burp the baby. He's got to stop doing that because it also telegraphs the defense, hey, I'm getting ready to throw because I'm doing my little tap, tap, tap. So that needs to be stopped. But here's my thing about Siemian. He's like, I'll equate it to golf since I'm a golfer. To me, he's like Luke Donald. Luke Donald was number 1 golfer in the world for a while, but he's like a short ball hitter. He has to go around the golf course, and he's very meticulous with his action. Everything has to be perfect. And he's not going to go for any par fives and 2. He's not going to, be able to rip it, 330 and all that jazz. And it's the same thing with Simeon. He's going to dink and dunk his way down the field. And those 15, 16 play drives, that's, in my opinion, it's hard to sustain because balls get dropped. Holding calls set you back. Balls get batted at the line of scrimmage. It's too hard in the NFL to be perfect when you're trying to sustain drives like that. I would prefer a Paxton Lynch type, and I know Paxton's not ready yet, so he's not going to be in there yet. And when he's ready, he will be. But a bigger arm quarterback who can stretch the field vertically, he makes safeties stay back and play honest. It changes the dynamic of the offense because defenses know that I got to worry about what's over my head and not just what's in front of me. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Kyle Orton, Trevor Siemian does. And after a while, that catches up to you because defenses, they know that there's nothing deep that's going to get you. I can't remember one throw last night that was over 20 yards. I don't know if he had one.
More Kyle Orton or more Chad Pennington?
Either one. Check down Charlie, whatever you want to call him.
Just throw that out.
Yeah, he's dink and dunk Donnie. And after a while, it'll sustain because you got a great defense. Right now, it'll be okay. But in the long run, I think when you get into the playoffs or if you get deep into the playoffs and you play elite defenses who can cover, who can rush the passer, who can do different things. If this game last night was in Carolina, Denver's getting smoked. They would have lost by probably 25 or 30 points. The home field advantage was huge for them because when they were down 10 points, that crowd would have been going bonkers and it would have went downhill fast. And he's not the type of quarterback who's going to drop back and just light up a secondary and catch up quick. He's got to sustain a drive. He needs to keep the running game going. He needs to keep, everything has to be working in order for them to score points. So, while I was impressed with him, I like his moxie. He's got great moxie, and he's not afraid of the moment. But at the end of the day, I just don't think he has enough arrows in the quiver to take Denver to a Super Bowl, and I think Elway knows that.
We shall see, and I do agree with you. It was definitely a home field advantage in that game, and when I mean home field advantage, anybody who's played in Denver knows it's a major home field advantage. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. When I tell you you can barely breathe, you can barely breathe. I played in that division with the Raiders. I played in the conference, Big 12 conference, so I had to go to Colorado every other year. It's tough. You can't breathe until you go there and actually go through it. You don't understand it. People are like, what do you mean you can't breathe? Have you ever been just walking to the stadium and get tired? Yes, you walk up and you're breathing hard. You may start sweating. The air is so thin that you can't breathe. And by those guys practicing in it every single day, their lungs are conditioned for it.
Oh, yeah. When I first moved up there, I lived up there for about a year. When I first moved up there, we had one phone that we hooked up very first week we moved into our house. It was upstairs in the loft, and the phone was ringing, and I ran from the downstairs to the upstairs to get the phone. When I answered the phone, I was heavy breathing for about a minute. The person hung up on me. I couldn't even say hello. It was just you can't catch your breath. It's unbelievable.
It's insane, man. Hey, it's a major home field advantage. Hey, at the end of the day, you have to play in it, and that's their home. So, hey, they did what they had to do. You can see the change in the second half, man. Carolina just wasn't playing the same type of football. I do think home field had something to do with that, and I also think it was a couple shots to the head of Cam Newton. Also, I think that maybe that had a little bit to do with it. Oh yeah,
there'll be some FedExes. coming in.
Brandon Marshall is definitely getting the FedEx.
Yeah,
definitely.
No doubt about that.
Hey,
no doubt
now
about
he may
that.
be able to appeal it and get it talked down a little bit, but
he getting fined. I saw the replay.
He's getting fined. He's getting fined, but hey,
and
that appeal process is amazing.
It is, but Cam is so tall. I mean, you've met him, obviously. I've met him. When I met him, I thought he was in the NBA. He's so big. To hit him in the head, you gotta get off the ground. For me to hit him in the head, I would need a ladder. But for a normal guy, he's big. He is.
Dude.
I'm telling you, the TV does not do any justice. When you meet Cam Newton, you are like, holy shit, is this guy big? He is like, wow, big. He's a very, very large man.
Yeah, I can recall him preparing for the draft. He was at IMG. I worked out at IMG. So the first day I seen him, I've always seen him on TV. But the first day he came out for workouts, I was like, wow, this jit is huge.
He is.
And then you see his athleticism and his arm. I'm like, man, this guy has the tools to be phenomenal in the league.
For all you non-Florida people, a jit is a term for a kid, a young man. So there's a lot of people probably like, what the hell is a jit? Well, that's what it is down here. It's like in Philly, they have the word John. Everybody's got their own jargon. We use jit for little kids. That's all, youngins. All right, let's keep it rolling, Fabe. Let's get it. We didn't really touch too much on it last night, but let's talk about our divisions again. I want to recap our division winners, and not so much who's going to win the division, but why we picked who we picked. I can hear you going through your notes. Listen to him. He's going through his notes, everybody. He's got it all written out.
Hey, man, let's rock out, man. Let's rock out.
All right, get your notes, note boy. Tell me what you got.
Man,
let's start in the NFC. Let's start in the NFC East, which I think is always the most interesting division because you never know who's going to win it.
Very interesting. Interesting always doesn't equate to good, though.
No, I never said good. I said interesting.
Okay. Hey, it's interesting. Okay. Like I said before, I'm taking the Giants in that division because I wanted to take the Cowboys, but the Cowboys have a few guys that's suspended because of drugs, and then the starting quarterback is out. I don't know what Dak Prescott is going to give me, but let me talk about the Giants. The Giants bring back Eli Manning. He can't help but have a better year than he had last year. I think it's McAdoo, the head coach. By him staying, Eli gets another year in that offense, and like I said, he can't do anything but go up. The defense, wow. The Giants' defense can't do anything but go up from what they did last year. I think they were giving up like 300 yards passing a game. It was ridiculous. So
and they spent money too. They went out and got Oliver.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They went out and made some improvements on that defense. So I think that defense is going to play much better along with an improved Eli. I gotta take them as my division winners there.
Yeah, I have them winning too. A funny story about that, I was on Twitter. I heard a bunch of, little bloggers or whatever talking about the Giants in their secondary, and one of them said that they think DRC is going to be playing in the slot. And I know, as we know, we know Dominique pretty well. So I jumped in the conversation. I said, Dominique is not playing in the slot, believe me, because I know he hates it. He hated it when he was in Philly. So he gets talking. So anyway, I texted him. I said, hey, are you playing in the slot this year? He says, yeah, I'm playing in the slot this year. I'm going to give it a try. so then I had to respond back to these guys. I said, yeah, he is playing in the slot. I just texted him. And they're all like, we don't believe you. You're full of shit. You don't know him.
One thing I can do is vouch for you there.
He goes,
we all know DRC.
He goes, 1 minute he's not playing. The next minute he is playing. Which one is it? I said, hey, it surprised me. because I know that he didn't like it, but one thing that Dominique has gotten is a lot bigger. He works out like a madman now. His nickname back in the day was Baloney because he was so thin, but now he's more like, he's pretty stout for a guy his size and speed. He's a big boy. He's at least 210, I would say. He'll say 200, but he's a big kid.
I talked to him when OTA started, and he told me also that he will be playing in the slot, and he asked me for some advice in the slot. I'm like, dude, I can recall. Here's a quick story. I can recall me getting drafted by the Oakland Raiders, and the first practice, OTAs, they put me in the slot. I think I lasted about 30 minutes. It was like, no way. Just go to the outside. Because I had no clue. Because I had no clue. I had no clue about the slot. I had never played it before in my life. I've always been an outside corner. So I'm like, I've never played that position before, but I'll give it a try. To get on the field, I'll give anything a try. So
what's the difference, though? What's the major difference? The physicality of it?
Space. Receiver has space. Now, I didn't get, at that point in time, I'm a rookie. I didn't get route concepts. The good slot corners, they get the route concepts. They get what number 2 is trying to do. They absolutely get it. So if you get the concepts of what the offense is trying to do, you'll be a better slot receiver. A better slot corner. I just didn't get it at all. Like, I've always been on the outside. My concepts go from formation, down and distance, and the receiver split. Now, a lot of times on the outside, number two can tell you what number 1 is doing probably about 70% of the time.
Plus, you relied on your God-given talents a lot too, because I don't know if everybody knows this. Fabian ran a 4.29 in the 40. He's as fast as they come. So he relied a lot on his just raw speed more often than not. So throwing that out there.
I absolutely relied on my talents too much. And you see where it got me, Steve? Got me talking on radio with you.
Well, you did have your hamstring torn right off the bone. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that had a little bit to do with it. I have no juice anymore. But we both agree.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, you're like 5'8", 110 pounds, soaking wet.
Yeah. But we both agree on NFC East.
Yeah, we like the Giants. That's true. But you know what? The Redskins are the wild card because Kirk Cousins keeps getting better. Watch out for them. They got weapons now. That tight end they got's pretty nice, and they got D-Jax. Yep, Jordan Reed. He's from my hometown in Connecticut, and he's
Jordan Reed.
And their defense is getting better. They went and got Josh Norman. That should help. They moved Hall to safety, which is usually a good move. Rangy corner can go to safety. I don't know. Watch out for the Redskins. They could be the sleeper.
Hey, absolutely. I agree with you. I agree with you totally. Hey, the Redskins are a sleeper in that division because they got the pieces. They have the pieces. Now, let's see, can they turn into to wins?
Exactly. All right, let's stay in the NFC. We'll move over to the North division. I love the Packers. I'm going to go there because Jordy Nelson's back. I love Aaron Rodgers just because he throws bullets all over the field. Their defense is getting, it should be okay. It's not great, but it's not awful. But we'll see. Peppers is long in the tooth. I think Clay Matthews is kind of the key there if he can get after the quarterback. But with Jordy Nelson returning and with Lacey not being so fat, I think that they got a good chance to put up points. What do you think?
We both agree again, and this sucks, Steve. We're both agreeing. But I'm taking Green Bay because, again, the other team that I wanted to pick had a quarterback issue. I wanted to take the Minnesota Vikings with that good defense that they have over there, along with the running the ball with Adrian Peterson. I wanted to take them so bad, but I can't take them now because I'm going to be honest. I don't trust Sam Bradford. Do you?
No, he wears sleeves.
Cut it out. But
I don't trust any quarterback with sleeves.
Bradford. Man, so it's like, come on. And then, like, as you already pointed out, Aaron Rodgers gets – go ahead, shoot.
They know something about Bridgewater that we don't, because there is no way you give up a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick that could potentially become a second-round pick for a guy that's just going to be there for a year. So, in my opinion, their doctors know that Teddy's got a long road ahead, or he may never come back at all, because you don't give up that much for Sam Bradford. You just don't, unless you're desperate. Because desperation is a stinky cologne, and then that deal stunk.
Steve,
that's all I got to say about that.
Listen to me, Steve-O. No lie. When that happened, my phone was ringing off the hook because, for one, pretty much everybody knew it was a torn ACL. But the stomper was, it said, an ambulance arrived immediately to the facility and took him to the trauma center. I'm like, hold on. I tore my ACL, and I know for a fact you don't have to go to the hospital that day, and you definitely don't have to go to the trauma center. And I was in awe of it because I don't know what's going on here. I'm telling everybody, I don't know it. All I could guarantee, I said, that's more than an ACL. That's not just an ACL. Something seriously is wrong with this kid. For them to, for one, call an ambulance. For two, rush him to the trauma center. I was like, it's absolutely something major going on there. Now, I still to this day don't know what's going on, and I'm pretty sure Minnesota's not going to let that cat out the bag until they absolutely have to. But
well, I heard it's dislocated knee. It's dislocated out of the joint, is what I heard. I don't know what that means, but that's what I heard.
Me neither. I'm not a doctor, but I just knew it was something pretty bad for them to, one, like I said, for one, call an ambulance. For two, they rush him to the trauma center. I'm like, wow, I don't know what that is.
To give up as much as they gave up.
Exactly.
When I saw that news, I thought, oh, Bridgewater's never playing again. There's no way you give up a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick for a stopgap quarterback. You just don't. Nobody does. He's not a stopgap. He's the future. That's what it tells me.
Man, dude, that first and a fourth tells me he's the future of your organization.
Exactly.
Yep. It's no way in HE double hockey sticks I'm pulling that move if I know Teddy's coming back next year.
Exactly.
No way. I'm going to bite the bullet. Yes, Minnesota is built to win now, and maybe they want to win now because every day Adrian Peterson gets older. That's one thing we have to account for. Every day he gets older.
Yeah.
He's not going to be the same Adrian Peterson 2-3 years from now. So maybe they wanted to hit while the iron is hot, but at the same time, there's no way in HE double hockey stick I'm going to pull that trade off.
True. Hey, let's speaking of quarterbacks in the NFC North, is this Jay Cutler's last year in Chicago if they don't make noise?
If they don't make noise, do you expect them to make noise?
No, I don't, but in sports, you never know.
Hey,
I mean,
you never know. I agree.
But
I agree. You never know.
If Chicago comes out and lays an egg, I mean, I've heard players tell me that he's just god-awful. I mean, you had the guy from the Patriots, Bennett, that came out publicly and blasted him. You know, said that he would throw into double coverage for no reason, and you know,
and that was weak,
and this and that. You know, but how long are they going to ride with this guy as their go-to guy because Chicago fans are passionate, and I'm curious to see how short of a hook he has up there, old number 6.
Oh man, they're not gonna yank him this year. I can almost promise you that. The roof will have to fall in for him to yank him because who's behind him? But one thing I will say, this is going to be his last year there. He's done. I think it's going to be best for both parties, him and the Bears, that he's done.
Yeah.
As you know, there's no reason. I don't want to relive in the past, but I have to say it. He shouldn't have been in Chicago in the first place. Should have never been there. Should have still been with the Broncos.
Well, at the time, I hated the move, but the more I look at it, maybe McDaniels was right.
No, buddy, I was in the division at the time. I had to play him twice a year. Him and Brandon Marshall was hell. When I tell you I hated the matchup because he was going to put it right on B. Marsh, man. Like, it is what it is, but this will be his last year in Chicago. Let's move on.
All right. Well, let's move on. All right, we'll go. Let's go from the north to the south. NFC South, right in our neighborhood, down here in the South. Who do you like, and why?
All right. In that division, I actually think the Panthers are going to win the division.
Yeah.
But the 3 teams that's behind them could possibly sneak up on them. I don't know because all right, when you go to New Orleans, everybody's afraid of Drew Brees. I don't care what anybody says. You got to be afraid of that guy. Hey, because one thing about it, he can sling it around the yard.
Yep.
But their defense is gonna they lose games 41-40. Like that shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen.
Right. They're young though. They got a lot of young talent, especially on the back end.
They do. But I don't think that defense is gonna hold up this year. That's why I won't pick them. Atlanta. I think Atlanta is going to be a much improved defense, and the offense is there. So if Atlanta can play some defense, I think they can possibly dethrone the Panthers, the Bucks. Let's go to the Bucks. Everybody loves Jameis Winston. Me too.
I do. Yeah.
Man, you'll be a fool not to.
I'm big on him.
Yeah. The offense is gonna be a well-oiled machine this year, especially second year in Dirk Cutter's offense. But by them going from cover 2 to now playing a single high, and they're playing corners off, that's going to take some time to adjust to. I watched them in the preseason, and very few, and literally only one of their corners, that was VH3, looked comfortable playing off. Only one. They went from playing cover 2 to where your responsibilities can go from forcing the run all the way to rerouting the receiver to now I got to play off, read the 90 series, which the 90 series is 3-step drop, 90 series, quick game. And as a off corner, you have to know how to read that.
React.
Have to know it. Exactly. So it's not just reroute and go make a play in zone. Now you have to be able to read that quarterback, which it takes time. It takes adjusting. Me being an off corner my entire life because of my size, I can look at it and I can react at the drop of a dime off a 3-step drop because that was my strength. Those guys, they're getting corners that's not their strength. And I think they're going to struggle this year until they can get the CBs in there that they need. So that's why I'm still going with Carolina.
I think Carolina is definitely the cream of the crop, but I think that Tampa Bay needs some help in the pass rush department. I think all those changes you just talked about are predicated on the lack of a pure pass rusher. I think that they want read and react corners in an effort to make turnovers because they know that they're not going to have a boatload of sacks. You know, I mean, you look at a team like Denver, you look at a team like Carolina, you look at teams that get after the quarterback. They want press man corners that are going to hold those receivers up for that extra second that gives those edge rushers time to get to the quarterback. And if you don't have that edge rusher, then you want to play off a little bit, read and react, you know, try to create, you know, jump routes, things like that. I think that they really need McCoy to just be that guy in the middle, that you know, that 3 technique under tackle. You know, it's time for him to really step up, but I just don't see a pure pass rusher in Tampa yet that's going to make a huge difference, and that's what they need. I think that's really the biggest hole they have. I know they went out and got Robert Ayers from New York, who was formerly with Denver, but Ayers is a run stuffer. He's a bully in the line, don't get me wrong. He's strong as an ox, but he's not really a pass rush kind of guy. He's more of a run stuffer and just kind of controls the line of scrimmage, but we'll see. I still think the Panthers win that division easily. I think the other teams will be fighting for a wild card, and that may happen. You know, Atlanta, like you said, you know, Vic Beasley coming into his second year, he's obviously has a ton of pass rushing skills, but Matt Ryan makes me nervous. He has too many stupid throws that a guy that, you know, was in the league as long as he has, he shouldn't do it. He just makes me scratch my head too much. You know, he makes rookie mistakes a lot. I don't know. Something about him, I just don't like it.
We can agree on that.
All right, let's talk about probably the toughest division in the NFC, the black and blue division, if you will, the NFC West. They got some tough ass defenses over there and some good all around athletes. Who do you like in the West? I think we both agree on this one too. I think it's red and it flies.
Absolutely. Arizona Cardinals. And my reason why I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals, first of all, let me go through the other teams. San Francisco, a joke. Not even going to be close. So I'm done with them. The Rams are ready, made to win. They're ready. Trust me. They're going to be a problem this year. They have that girly kid who I love to death. They have him. He's going to be a problem. Now, if they can get that other kid I like, that Tavon Austin kid, to turn himself into a legit receiver, they could actually be a problem.
They paid him like a legit receiver.
We're not going to talk about that right now because I'm going to be for real. I'm going to be real. I don't think he deserved it, but you know me as a player.
You want everybody to get every penny they can get.
Absolutely. Hey, you worth anything anybody's willing to pay you. You worth it.
I agree.
You know why?
I agree.
Because
I agree.
Somebody paid it to you, so you're worth it. So I think the Rams could be a sleeper in that division. Now let me get to the 2 top dogs. All right. Seattle. Everybody loves that team because of that defense. That defense is amazing. They remind me of, you know, the old smash mouth defenses, you know, the Raiders back in the day, the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the day. You got the Ravens.
They were better when they had
back in the day.
They were better when they had Chris Clemens and Red Bryant and that more stout up front. They let that walk, and I think that hurt them a little bit, to be honest.
I don't know just yet. I don't know just yet because that team is a team that, hey, next man up. So I don't know just yet. But they fit me in that mold of the Chicago Bears. Those great defenses, that's them. So no matter what, they're always going to be in it when you have a team, a defense like that. Now, let's go that offense. If they can get Rawls healthy, got to get him healthy. If you can get Jimmy Graham healthy, which he is playing Sunday,
and Russell Wilson does what he does, they could possibly win it. But my reasoning being for taking the Arizona Cardinals, this is my reasoning behind it. They were ready-made to win the Super Bowl last year. Their quarterback absolutely stunk it up in the playoffs. Both games.
What else is new?
Stunk it up. Now, he's a good quarterback, and I like him as a quarterback.
Not in the postseason, he's not.
All you need is one good postseason. I recall the Yankees and A-Rod. All you need is one good postseason.
All I need is one good $1 million.
Hey, one good postseason will get the Arizona over the top. The defense is going to be much better this year.
I love their secondary.
That secondary is super legit. But they went out and grabbed that guy from New England, Mr. Jones. Yeah, that's going to help. That's going to help on the edge and go get the quarterback. I love him. That's going to help That's going to help that defense. So this year, I definitely think Arizona is going to repeat as division champs.
It'll be interesting. Seattle to me is Seattle scares me the most. The only thing I don't like about Seattle, I would take Seattle right now if their offensive line was better. Their offensive line is just beat up. They never should have traded Max Unger. I know Jimmy Graham is great and all this, that, and the other, but let's be honest. Russell Wilson's not a drop-back, throw it 50 times a game type. He doesn't need an elite pass-catching tight end as much as they need a center that dictates the flow of the game, can get to the second level, put a helmet on a Mike linebacker, can get, especially in that zone blocking scheme, you want athletic linemen that can get to that second level because that one cut and go, if you get Unger to that Mike, next thing you know, all you have to do is beat the safety and you're gone. I mean, it's a home run or at least a 15-yard gain almost every time. But if you have an offensive lineman that can't get to that second level, now you got linebackers coming in untouched, and it changes everything drastically. And I think losing Unger was pretty big for them. And they have other places that are, Okung is now in Denver, and they've got a lot of holes on that O-line. If they shored that up more, I would feel better about Seattle's chances. But like you said, I think the Cardinals are the cream of the crop. Their defense flies around and makes plays. Secondary solid. They got good mix of young talent at wide receiver. They got, obviously, Larry Fitzgerald. And their running back is phenomenal. Second-year guy is going to be even better, coming into a sophomore season than he was, his rookie year. We have a caller on hold, Faye. We are going to take a call right now and see what this fine person has to say. Welcome to Florida Boy Sports. You're on air with Fabe and Steve-O. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing real fine, man. That's just an uninvited caller.
You're always invited. What's going on? Talk to us.
Yeah, I was calling. I kind of like the opinions on all the divisions. I'm trying to understand. You say that about Seattle falling off on the defense, but they just went from number 1 to number 2. I mean, they failed technically, but they went to number 2.
Well, I don't think they're falling off on the defense. I think that when they won the Super Bowl with their defense, they had a little bit more stout defensive line up front. All in all, they're still one of the best defenses in the NFL for sure, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and another thing with the Rams, Mr. Washington said that he feel like they ready to win, but I mean they gotta at least be able to compete to make the playoffs to say that they're ready to win. I mean Jeff Fisher, I wouldn't really equate win with Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, I think he's overrated as a head coach, but I also look at that team. I look at that team and see the biggest need they have is at receiver. I'm going to say that they don't have a true defined number 1 receiver which all quarterbacks love, but they don't have that guy. But if they can find a couple, if they can put a couple guys together and make a number 1 out of 2 receivers, I think that team is going to be trouble because on the defensive end, what are they missing? The offense, I mean, it's like running back. They got the best running back in the division. What are they missing? Now that quarterback, the quarterback is going to be shaky, you know. But
Goff
the
is the third stringer right now, isn't he?
Goff
Then they move. Yeah, he's clipboard holder.
Yeah. Until he's ready, or either it's going to be one or two things: until he's ready, or until the team is done. Because once the team's done, it's time to go to my first round pick.
Okay, quick question about Goff though. Is Goff struggling because of the O-line play, or is Goff struggling because he's not ready? Because Goff has been getting killed, like Andrew Luck type killed so far in the playoffs. And they also been playing him with the third string offensive line in the preseason where those guys, most of those guys not even going to be on the team. Like he hasn't really played with NFL starters.
Okay.
I think it's probably a combination of both. I think the coaches are smart enough to see in practice that he's not making his reads correctly. He may not be going through the progressions. He's still thinking too much. And at the NFL level, you can't think. You just have to act and react. And when you see the quarterback coming to the line and he's thinking, now all of a sudden he's behind. He's behind in everything. And the defense knows that, and that plays into it. So I think it's a combination of, yes, the offensive line has been terrible, which probably has his confidence a little shaken. But I think he also mentally isn't ready for the speed of the game. He's not going through his progressions fast enough, and it's just not there yet where the coaches feel comfortable to put him out there because quarterback's confidence, I mean, let's be honest, they're divas. He starts getting beat up and starts thinking he sucks. It's going to be, downhill fast for him. They don't want to ruin his confidence. They want him to just sit back and wait until he's ready. And right now, they know he's just not ready.
Took the words out of my mouth, Steve-O.
Okay. And another big thing, when we talk division and picks, in the Cardinals and the Seahawks and the Rams and the 49ers division, like most tough divisions end up the quarterback play usually decides the division when teams are evenly matched. So are y'all taking Carson Palmer over Russell Wilson as far as in who you would depend on? Like say the play like it comes
at this point with Carson Palmer's weapons, absolutely.
I disagree.
Absolutely. With the weapons on offense, I'm taking Carson Palmer.
I'm taking Russell Wilson. He's won a Super Bowl. He's been there. He's done that.
I got you. I got you. That Super Bowl hold weight, man. But I'm taking Larry Fitzgerald and that receiving core over Seattle's receiving core.
I agree.
I'm taking Johnson & Johnson over whoever starts in Seattle. That's what I mean. He has all the surroundings. He doesn't have to do everything.
But here's the thing, Fabe. When it's 3rd and 8, and them receivers for Seattle are locked up, Baldwin's not open, and Graham's double covered, and it looks like he's about to get sacked, Russell Wilson spins out. He breaks it down, finds the hash mark, sprints to it, first down, and he pisses you off every time. He's the kind of quarterback that just breaks your back with that kind of playmaking. And that's why I like him better, because in the heat of the moment, when you look at a championship game, when you look at an NFC championship game, or you look at a Super Bowl, there's always that one moment where it's 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 6, and this is it. Here's the ball game. And in my opinion, Russell Wilson scares me a hell of a lot more, regardless of who he's throwing the ball to, than does Carson Palmer. Because if you cover all of Palmer's weapons, he's getting sacked. He ain't running away from me. But Russell Wilson he's Houdini. He gets out of all types of stuff. And that, if it's me and my defense is out on the field, I don't want to see Russell Wilson on a 3rd and 8 for all the marbles, because he's going to make it happen. He's done it time and time and again, regardless of who's running their routes, regardless of who's covered.
Okay, so if you're taking the Cardinals over the Seahawks for the division, but do you
Absolutely.
Take them, but do you take them to go further in the playoffs? Are they a bigger threat to go to the Super Bowl than the Seahawks?
Well,
I do. They're loaded.
Yeah,
I do.
They're loaded.
But
Styles make fights.
Like,
It depends.
They do. Yes.
I believe, like, when they're on the field, it's always a even fight. Those teams to me, it's
they know each other.
It's the best rivalry.
It's the division.
In the NFL right
you
now.
You gotta know your divisional opponent.
Yeah. Familiarity
it's the best
breeds
rivalry
good games.
in the NFL right now.
Exactly. Most division games are good.
Yeah,
no matter who's playing.
But here's the thing with the playoffs. It all depends on your beat. Where are you playing? Who are you playing? You get a first-round bye or not? Are you at home? Are you on the road? I mean, there's too many variables to say, look at it like this. If Arizona has a bye and their next game is against the lower seed, and Seattle's got to go to Green Bay to play at Green Bay, I'm going to take Arizona, because going to Green Bay playing in the tundra is tough. It's a tough place to win. So you can't just say, there's too many variables to just come out and say this team is going to win because of this reason. You got to see what the whole landscape is of the playoffs before I can say definitively that they're going to win more playoff games.
Yeah, I'm just like, I love both teams. I think that one of those teams are going to the Super Bowl. That's just how I look at it. I just feel like with both of them being healthy, with both teams are totally healthy, because we all know Seattle came into the season banged up, so they struggled early in the season with Cam Chancellor missing training camp, Earl Thomas banged up early, and Lynch hurt, which also helped them find a star in Thomas Rawls. But they kind of had to switch the offense in the middle of the season. But I truly believe both of those teams are the favorites to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC.
Yeah, I think they're right there. And the Packers. I'm not counting out the Packers with Jordy Nelson back.
Yeah, but I hate the Packers defense. I just don't think they'll be able to stop the running game against the good teams.
Yeah, it could be true.
But Aaron Rodgers is the god, so he can always get hot.
That's right. Well, hey, we appreciate your call. Thanks for the time. We're going to move on to the AFC now. Right. I appreciate you calling in, and call back anytime. You're always welcome on Florida Boy Sports.
All right.
All right, Fabo.
What's happening?
AFC. Let's talk about it. We got about a little less than an hour left, and we still haven't even talked about our Super Bowl picks yet. So let's run through the AFC. We're going to talk about AFC East first, and I think we both know who the beast of the East is. We talked about it before we went on air, and geez, it's not even funny.
Hey, man, I'm going to keep it short and simple. Until further notice, the Patriots. It's that simple.
Yeah. It's crazy. Tom Brady's worst record as a starter is 9-7, and that happened in 2002. I'm not going to be long, but I'm going to quickly rattle off since 2001 this guy's record: 11-5, 14-2, 14-2, 10-6, 12-4, 16-0, 11-5, 10-6. 14-2, 13-3, 12-4, 12-4, 12-4, 12-4. I mean, what? That's like
the God.
It's like he's playing Madden or something. I mean,
Tom Brady, the God.
Basically, I mean, it's like we talked about. They go 8-0 at home, and then they split on the road, 12-4. Last 4 years, 12-4, 12-4, 12-4, 12-4. So they win at home, and then they just go 50-50 on the road, get a first-round bye, end up being in New England for the playoffs. If they have to go to Denver, that's the only time they ever have hiccups. If they go to Denver in the playoffs, they lost the last 3 times out there. That's it. Other than that, there you go. They win.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Patriots are going to win. But you know what? I do like the Jets this year. I do think the Jets.
I think they're much improved.
They are. I want to see how Fitzpatrick does now that he's got a nice little, 1 year. What do you get? 1 or 2 year contract, whatever it was.
1 year.
Do a deal. Yeah. And I like what their coach is doing. I think that I like what they got. Their secondary makes me a little nervous outside of Revis. They got Revis, but D. Milliner hasn't worked out that well for them. And now we'll see, but they're not ready to battle with the Patriots yet. I mean, they'll battle, but they're not ready to win the division. I don't care if Brady's out for a month or not. They're still going to win the division. So we both like New England. Yeah. All right. So we'll go to your former division, the AFC North, where I'm rocking with the Steelers because I love their passing attack. I think they got weapons out the wazoo, and with Le'Veon Bell and, that offensive line doing their thing, I think the Steelers are going to be a tough out this year. They're going to put up points.
Man, hey, I agree with you on the Steelers being good. No lie, I agree with you on that. But I'm going to go opposite, and I'm going to take the Bengals to win that division because and one thing, let me tell you about this division. It's another one of them black and blue divisions where you're going to get your butt kicked each game in the division. The next day, you're going to wake up, everything on your body is hurting because each team is trying to kill each other in that division. Literally, we hate is such a strong word, but we hate the other 3 teams in the division. Now, I'm picking a team that's not my team, and I'm picking the Bengals because they were so good last year. And I think that defense is going to come play ball. You know what I mean? They've never had a problem with that aspect of it. Now, where I do think the Bengals are going to run into a problem at is because they lost their number 2 and 3 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put everything on Mr. Green.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they make those adjustments. But those 2 running backs they got, I love them. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Gio Bernard. I'm a huge fan of him. And one of the things I'm going to say about the Bengals, and I hope other teams that suck take some notes here. Continuity breeds success. It could have been a ton of times where they fired Marvin Lewis, but they didn't. They stuck with him, and they let him build what he wanted to build, and they rode out the storm. And look he's the second longest tenured coach behind Bill Belichick. And now they're a perennial Super Bowl threat because continuity breeds success. You see all these teams that constantly fire their head coach, 2 years later, fire their head coach. I mean, I remember when Denver was going through a bad spell, Champ Bailey had 6 new defensive coordinators in 6 years. I mean, how can you be successful when every year you're learning something new? You can't do it. And I think that teams need to follow that blueprint that, listen, even though we stink right now, if we like this guy's message enough that we hired him and we gave him millions of dollars to run our team, then we should like him long enough to see his plan come to fruition. I just think patience is a virtue in the NFL, and I wish more teams would take the Marvin Lewis approach as opposed to just firing guys. I mean, look at the Steelers. Steelers have more Super Bowl wins than anybody. They've had 3 head coaches since, They had.
I was just about to bring that up. The Steelers are the best at it. They're the best.
Yeah.
They're going to stick by you.
I can't think of the guy's name that was before the spitter. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
Tomlin.
That's before my time.
Yeah, but you know who I'm talking about.
Time.
Anyway, it's right on the tip of my tongue. It doesn't matter. But anyway, they have, like you said, continuity breeds success. So you're going with the Bengals. I'm going with the Steelers just because I think that the Steelers' passing attack is just too good. I really think they got two guys outside of Antonio Brown that are a tough matchup. I mean, those guys, Wheaton, he's solid. And then that other kid from Florida State, Bryant, he's going to be, I think, coming into his, was he a second or third year, whatever it is, he's tough and he's big. So you got, you're.
The coach you were looking for is Chuck Noll.
Chuck Noll, yeah, I know. It came to my head after I couldn't remember it. But anyway, the point is, I think the Steelers are going to do it this year in the AFC North. I think they're just too much offense. That's my take. So, plus they can run the ball very well with Bill.
Okay,
so
hey. But don't sleep on my Ravens. We back healthy. Don't sleep on them. Yeah, all right. Don't sleep on my Ravens.
You got a 16-year wide receiver that comes off a torn Achilles.
But boy, we got two Bugattis though. We got two Bugattis on the outside now.
You got Perriman, who has a partially torn ACL. He's still faster than everybody else in the division. And name that other Bugatti we got over there? How many games has he seen?
None. We gonna see him Sunday. We will see him Sunday.
And then what about Pitta? Is Pitta playing?
Pitta won't. I don't know. Pitta has a finger issue. I don't know if he's playing Sunday.
Yeah, you guys got more issues than Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny until we start winning again.
We'll see.
Same thing. Make you laugh, make you cry. Remember that.
Yeah, that's true. But we'll see. As they say, that's why they play the games, my friend.
Absolutely. Let's keep the party going.
Let's go to the South. AFC South. This is the toughest division for me because everybody kind of sucks.
I'm not gonna say that.
Well,
but I think everybody's evenly matched.
Well, they're not. Nobody. I don't see anybody going to the Super Bowl from the South. I mean, maybe.
Well, we agree there.
So I shouldn't say they suck. Nobody in the NFL sucks. Let me clarify that. If you're in the NFL, you're exceptional. There's teams that suck. There's teams that suck.
No player sucks. No,
true.
There's teams that suck.
True. All right. So looking at the Texans, I think the Texans on paper should win because they have a new quarterback. They signed a big money, which means that they have faith in him. I personally am a little because of accuracy. I don't think he's that accurate. I've seen Brock miss too many open windows, but that's neither here nor there. I do love Lamar Miller, and I think their defense with J.J. Watt and Cushing and company, they'll get after you. So Houston should be there on paper. But my pick is the Tennessee Titans, and I'll tell you why. Because I love the dual-headed running back situation that they have with Henry and DeMarco Murray, and I honestly think that Marcus Mariota is going to be better in his second year. They're going to have different ways of running the ball at you. They're going to run it with the quarterback, and then they're going to run it with this 6'3", 250-pound freak, and then they're going to have speed off the edge with Murray. They got different ways to beat you. So I like the Titans. Now, they can't stop a sneeze. They're going to probably lose games 42-40, but I'm going to pick them to win the South just because they're going to take the air out of the ball and run it down people's throats.
Okay. Well, I will take them guys out of H-Town, them Houston Texans. I'll take those guys for the simple fact they have themselves a quarterback now. Now, I don't know how good this quarterback is because we only seen him in limited snaps. So I'm still up in the air, but I'm taking Houston I love that receiving core now.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh man, I love that receiving core. So you're gonna have to be able to throw those guys open along with that defense. It's gonna be hard to beat them. Now, anybody that knows me and has hung around me know one of my favorite quarterbacks is Maserati Mariota. So I love him because he can make plays that other quarterbacks just can't make. It's crazy what he can do. Because he runs a 4.4.
I know. He's a silly athlete.
So if Tennessee can play defense, which Dick LeBeau never has a problem playing defense, Dick LeBeau will have that defense rocking and rolling. Now, if they can do...
I don't know about rocking and rolling. They don't know about rocking and rolling. They'll be serviceable. Nah, I'm not saying serviceable. I think he works well with the talent that he has. But I think on the offensive end, if they can move that pocket and give Maserati a run-pass read, it can be a special year for them because it's hard to defend a mobile quarterback that can throw. It's hard. Right.
And he's that guy. So
especially when you have play action to deal with, and you know they will. You have to respect the run.
Oh man, yeah. They're gonna. If you don't, you're gonna get killed.
Right. So you got to factor that in too. That linebacker is always gonna bite, and if you get a tight end over the middle, a little jump pass all day, I'll be open all day long. With his speed, you're gonna see so many naked boots and some rollouts and
yes, sir.
You know,
yes, sir.
What is it? Red option right, or whatever they call it, red right option, or red right read pass, whatever it is.
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm talking about. They're going to fake it to the back and throw it to somebody wide open.
Yeah. So, okay.
Your pick is Texans. Is that official?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
So I'm not going to renege.
Okay, I got Tennessee. And, you know, not to diss on the Colts, but the Colts, they're a soup sandwich.
They have problems.
You know what a soup sandwich is? It's
a mess.
It's wet. It's a mess. And that's the problem. I just see Andrew Luck getting just smeared. I mean, just crushed. Their line is, and it's weird because a Chuck Pagano team is usually built from the interior with strength. I mean, what he learned in Baltimore was to create dominant big men up front, but they just don't have it in Indy. They don't have it on defense or on offense. It's ironic, but they just don't. And they keep signing guys that were great in 2007. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, AFC West, the home of the Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos, who are 1-0 and sit on top of the division. You are going to go with your Oakland Raiders. The Raiders. I do love that guy's voice. I can't lie. Every time I love that. That is awesome.
Better believe it. I'm going with Oakland this year. Yes, mate. This is the one time you can call me a homer. Because you know I'm never a homer, but this pick, it may be a homer pick. It may be an overreaction pick. I don't know what it is, but I feel like the Raiders are going to win this division. I think Sean Smith and Bruce Irvin is going to put them over the top along with everything they already had, meaning Mr. Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Hey,
Cooper.
The Broncos.
Amari Cooper.
I'm just talking about my defense over here. I haven't even started on my offense.
Yeah, Del Rio knows how to cook it up.
Exactly. I'm picking the Raiders to win this division. I like what I saw out of your Broncos last night. Also, they fought back, dude. Hey, they got punched in the mouth, got backed in a corner, and came out swinging. I like what I saw. I like what I saw there. But I think the reason why I'm going to pick my Raiders because I saw how we played you guys last year. We gave y'all hell last year. We gave you all you can handle last year, and I think we're a much improved team. We're a much improved team this year. I think that's going to get us over the hump, and I think we win the division this year. Out of that division, I think Kansas City is going to be Kansas City. It's like, they're going to come with a solid defense. They're going to come with a very vanilla offense. That I'm just calling it how I see it. It's vanilla.
It is.
Yeah, they dink and dunk the ball. It's like, come on, dude. Why do you go out and get Macklin if you're not going to try to stretch the field? It boggles my mind. But that's
because Smith can't do that. I mean, it's like that. Remember the golf comparison. Luke Donald is not knocking it on in 2 on par 5. It's just not in the bag. That's not in Alex Smith's bag. He can't pull off the shot, and teams aren't going to risk the turnovers, so they're not going to call the play. Just the way it is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's why I'm not picking them. And San Diego, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what they have. They were awful last year. They were one of those shootout teams. It's like, yeah, they may beat you, but it's going to be in the 30s. And the
thing is, but with San Diego, you look at them on paper and you think, you know what, they may be all right. I mean, you got, whether he was a punchline of jokes or not, Manti Te'o played very well. So did their rookie from the University of Miami and Denzel Perriman at linebacker. He played solid. He did.
Homer
he did.
Pete.
That's not. No, he did. He played very well.
It's okay, Steve. Yes, I'm gonna agree with you. Yes, he played well.
And I think that the wide receiver Keenan is gonna have an exceptional year. I think he's matured, coming to his own. Obviously, you know what Gates brings to the table. Phillip Rivers is probably the best quarterback in the division, to be honest, right now. So, I don't know. You never know. San Diego is the wild card. They could either just be awful or they could surprise people and win 10 games. We'll see. But I mean, I like your Raiders pick. I respect it. I'm not going to laugh at you. But I think Super Bowl.
Let's hear the Broncos pick coming right behind that.
Because here's why. It showed last night that Denver's tough to beat at home. The defense gets off the ball better at home. It's just a proven fact. And when you have a defense that can get off the ball better somewhere, and that defense gets off the ball as good as any defense in the NFL, so you have that advantage plus the mile-high air. I think that Denver's going to win a large majority of games at home. And what travels? Defense and a running game. C.J. Anderson played really well last night, which I have to take back all the bad stuff I said about him because I did not like him. I did not like the re-signing, but he looked explosive. He looked a lot faster than I thought he could be, and he proved me wrong, and that travels. Running game and defense travel. So if Denver can split on the road, take a playbook out of the Patriots, and just win their home games, they're going to win the West. And there you have it.
All righty, Steve.
Let's talk Super Bowl picks now. Dun, 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 dun.
I thought long and hard about these picks.
That's a tough one, especially this early. I mean, so much can happen.
I'm telling you, the God of this truth, I don't even know why I'm picking these picks. I just have a feeling this is going to be the matchup. It is what it is.
Shoot.
I'm going Carolina. No, I'm not. I'm going Arizona Cardinals versus the Bengals.
Ooh, Cincinnati. That would be an interesting matchup. That would be great to see Patrick Peterson and A.J. Green battling on the outside. Oh, man, that would be fun. I would enjoy watching that.
I think it would be an amazing matchup with ultimately the Cardinals winning. I told you, like I said earlier in the show, you only need one good postseason to get you over the hump. One. And I think this is going to be the year. You know, I was the same guy. I wish you could bring up my tweets from those two playoff. I think playoff in the divisional game and what it was conference. When the Cardinals played. Man, listen, I was killing Carson Palmer. I was killing him because he played awful. He was playing awful. His team,
he plays scared. He gets shook, in my opinion. Sometimes I see him getting a little. He gets a little shook. You know, he's got that I'm afraid to get hit look sometimes. Yeah. Not that he is. I'm not saying he is afraid to get hit. I mean, I've seen him stand in the pocket and deliver and take a shot, but he just seems like. I remember years back, you told me one time that pressure either busts pipes or it makes diamonds, and I think that Carson's he's got a lot of leaks. His pipes.
That's what we've seen in the past. That's what we've seen in the past. Well, at what point is the talent going to catch up in the playoffs? One thing about a good player, you're not going to keep him down forever. The guy's a baller.
When somebody shows you who they really are, you believe them.
I agree. But like I brought up earlier, we seen that out of A-Rod too, and he's had a phenomenal World Series. Also, all it takes is one. One. We know A-Rod stinks it up in the postseason. He had 8-1 singular good postseason, won the World Series. All it takes is one.
Yeah. All right, my picks. And this is going to surprise you a little bit. But I have actually a Super Bowl rematch of a few years ago. I am taking the New York Football Giants to win the NFC. Yep, because I like Cruz, Beckham Jr., and Shepard is a three-headed giant, and I think Eli is going to light it up in the air this year. I love their receiving core. I think with Cruz back healthy and obviously Odell getting the bulk of the attention, and I think the addition of Vernon on defense, they got a good pass rusher. They added Eli Apple into the secondary. You've got the opportunity to bring Dominique into the slot. They're going to play a lot of zone. I think they're going to be all right. You'll see.
Cut it out. Hey,
you'll see. You watch. They're my sleeper.
No way. Did you say put DRC what do you mean, on defense?
Yeah, he's going to be in the slot on defense.
Okay. I took that wrong. I thought you were meaning.
No, I'm saying on defense they added. No, God, no. We both know that.
I haven't seen him play receiver since Arizona.
The last time I saw him play receiver was when I was on his flag football team. He told me to throw it as far as I could, and he went and caught it.
Okay.
No, I'm saying, think about it. You got Jenkins and Eli Apple on the outside. You got Dominique in the middle in the slot, Roman. He's big, lank, you know. You got a really good young safety, the kid from Alabama, Collins. And then you add a pass rusher. You got Jason Pierre-Paul with his 8 fingers. He's back.
JPP.
Ready to go. You know, so their pieces are healthy. Plus, you got a new coach. Anytime you fire a stalwart, anytime somebody that's been there forever, that's won multiple Super Bowls, gets fired, that puts everybody on alert. Guess what? We could fire your ass too. We fired his ass. Y'all better put up, shut up, or get the hell out. And I think everybody on the team knows that right now. It's time for business, and it's time to win. And I think they play with that intensity. I think they have the pieces they need to get it done. And when New York gets into the postseason, for some reason, they win. They know how to do it. So I'm going to take a flyer, and I'm going to say, every year the NFL throws us a curveball that nobody saw coming. This year, I'm going to pick the Giants. And I think the Giants are going to battle. Hey,
bro,
call me crazy. I don't care.
Crazy.
That's
crazy.
Fine. I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep very well tonight, regardless.
Yes, you're crazy.
All right, so the Giants are going to go up against the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to win the AFC because of the fact that Tom Brady's mad at the world and he has a 2 tight end set in which he's going to flourish. You got Gronkowski and Bennett and Edelman running around underneath. And you know who else impressed me a lot in the preseason was James White, their running back. He looked very, very fresh, very quick. And I think McDaniels is going to put together some packages to make, to utilize his skill set. And I just see the Patriots having no problem winning, 11 games, 12 games, even with Brady out for a month. He'll come back fresh. His arm will be, ready to go. So I don't see anybody that's going to challenge them in the AFC when it gets deep in the playoffs. As much as I'd like to say Denver, they're not going to beat Tom Brady with the quarterback situation they have. So I think it'll be a rematch of one of the best Super Bowls we ever saw with the helmet catch. Book it, Dano.
Hey,
Giants
I can
versus
actually
Patriots.
go. I can actually appreciate the Patriots pick, but the Giants, dude, I'm still stuck on that. Like the Giants, seriously.
Why not? Why not? Tell me what's so flawed about them. They got a pass rusher. They went out and paid big money for Oliver Vernon, right? They got JPP, so there's 2 guys that can put heat on it, right? Their linebacking core is decent. Their secondary is solid. Their defense is okay.
Wait, I'm going to stop you there. Why do you say their secondary is solid? It gave up 300 yards a game last year.
They went out and got a first-round pick at corner.
Okay,
and Eli Apple,
and he's a rookie.
So he's still good. We'll see.
We will see if he's good.
We will see. I think we will, but I think that they have the talent as far as athleticism with Janoris Jenkins, talented, first round pick. Eli Apple,
Second round pick.
Okay. Who was second round pick? Apple?
Janoris.
No, he wasn't. He was a first round pick for the Rams. And they
Are
got
you
him
serious?
Was he?
Hey,
maybe I'm wrong.
Don't be smarter than a smartphone.
All right. No problem. All right, second round pick from the whatever, and then you got another first round pick in DRC. So you got first day talent in the secondary, a bunch of fast guys. You got Collins from Alabama at safety, rangy, big hitter, And on offense, they got so many good pass catchers. Shepard is a baller. Cruz back is huge. And we all know what Beckham can do. So I see them scoring points, and I think their defense will be good enough that they'll score more than they give up. That's what I see. Plus, I see a coach that's going to come in and be a no-nonsense, let's-get-to-business type coach, and the NFC East is winnable. All you got to do is get in the tournament. Anything can happen. And the East is what? Average at best. So that's what I'm picking.
Okay. It is
That's
what
all
it
that is. It is what it is. Well, we got about 15, 20 minutes left of our second episode. Is there anything you'd like to discuss or talk about? Anybody wants to call in the show, feel free to do so. Our guest call-in line is 323-642-1707. You can call in, make a statement, make a comment, call us whatever you want to call us. Say whatever you got to say. It doesn't matter. Just have fun with it. 323-642-1707 is the guest call-in line. We got about 15, 20 minutes left in the show. Other than that, we're looking forward to a great year of NFL action and sports in general, not just football. Did you see that Tiger's back, didn't you? Tiger is back.
I seen that.
Mm-hmm. That's big. That's big to the golf world.
Let's get into these matchups this weekend, though.
Oh, yeah. We got to talk about some of these one-on-ones, huh? Let me pull up my notes here. First game, you got Green Bay at Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Green Bay. Green Bay going to kill them. Not kill them, but Green Bay will win that one. I like Green Bay.
Green Bay, easily.
I think Jordy Nelson's going to come out. But you know what? Jacksonville does have some young pieces that I'm looking forward to seeing. I want to see that kid Fowler, and I want to see Miles Jack, and I want to see Ramsey. You know, they got some young, really good, talented players that if they can mold them into solid pros, Jacksonville could have something on defense. They got some studs.
Hey, AR-12 plus Jordy Nelson equals success.
It's true. Yeah, Green Bay wins.
Yeah.
All right, you got Buffalo at Baltimore. Who do you like?
You could say this one.
Yeah, you like Baltimore.
I like Baltimore because I'm excited about Joe Flacco being back for one. His deep ball threats, you know, in Pyramid and Wallace. And you got Steve Smith, who's, man, that little pit bull is amazing. And don't forget about Sizzle Man is also back. Man, Baltimore will win this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but Baltimore wins by a touchdown.
You know, I'm going to go with Buffalo. And you know why? Because Buffalo has a coach that played in Baltimore for a long time. And if anybody knows how to pick apart a passing attack, it's Ed Reed. With Ed Reed being in that Buffalo coaching staff, he's going to have that defense keyed up to everything that Flacco wants to do. He's going to know what he likes, what he doesn't like, and how to hurt him. And I think that's the difference. In a close ball game, I think Ed Reed's tutelage to the young Buffalo defense is going to be the difference. So I'm going to go with the Bills. I think they circle the wagons.
Okay, I can see it.
Next game, Chicago at Houston. I'm definitely going with Houston on that one.
I'm going Houston easily on that one. The Bears DBs are banged up. I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to take full advantage of that and have a monster day. So yeah, I'm Houston on that one.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. This next game is probably the game I want to watch this one. Cleveland and Philadelphia. I know it sounds terrible on paper, but I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. I want to see how Wentz does. I want to see what the new Eagles offense looks like, and I'm dying to see what RG3 and Hugh Jackson does in Cleveland. So this would be a good, interesting game. Who do you like in this one?
Man, I like Cleveland. I think Hugh is going to get his first win as the Browns coach. He's going to move the pocket with RG3, with run-pass reads, and the defense will be adequate versus the Eagles and score. Cleveland will get over the hump and score enough points to win.
I agree with you. I think Cleveland's going to do it too. It'll be a close one. I mean, it's not going to be a runaway, but
with two bad teams,
Cleveland,
you never know.
You do. It's true, but Cleveland's they got the ability to put up points. They got some athletes at the running back position. They got athletes at the quarterback position. They got athletes at the wide receiver position, and they got a Bainbridge at tight end who's a good athlete. I mean, they can score on you now. They might put up some points this year. Stopping people is another thing altogether. But I'm gonna say Cleveland as well. I like the Browns. All right, Tampa Bay heads to Atlanta to take on Matt Ryan and your boy Julio. Who do you like?
Atlanta. I just don't trust the Buccaneers defense. Julio has a huge day.
I agree. I see, especially on the dome and that turf, he's just too quick in and out of his cuts and just too fast, too big, just too much. I think the Falcons win. I agree with you there. Plus, I like their running back. That kid was Freeman. He's a stud too.
Yes, sir.
He's gonna have a big second year, I think. So Atlanta's looking good in that one. We both like Atlanta. All right, you got Minnesota at Tennessee. We get to see Sam Bradford in his sleeves. Who do you like?
Maserati Mariota. I'm going with Tennessee, man. Hey, with the Viking quarterback issues, I definitely got to take Tennessee, and I think they're going to pound it, and then try to attempt to go over the top. And I think that would be the best game plan for them, because I know the Vikings defense, they always bring their hard hats, but I think Mariota is going to do enough to get this win.
Yeah, I agree. I'm interested to see the running game for Tennessee go up against the stout defensive front, because the Vikings are tough up front. So that's going to be that'll be a good battle right there to see who wins up front. But I like Tennessee at home. Home openers, you always got the emotion going. It's a little bit different than a regular game. So I like Tennessee there as well. All right, we got the Bengals at the Jets. This is a good matchup right off the gate for New York. Who do you like in this one? Probably the Bengals, right, since they're going to the Super Bowl.
Nah, I'm taking the Jets. They the home team with a fully loaded clip on offense and defense. I'm taking the Jets to win this game.
I agree. I'm taking the Jets as well. And I think that it's must-see TV when you're talking A.J. Green versus Darrelle Revis. He'll shadow him the whole game. And like you said, with Sanu gone and some of the other weapons, it's going to be hard for Dalton to find somebody to get to, because they're not going to test Revis too often. How would you approach that? I mean, you got a guy like A.J. Green. You got to get him the ball, right? You got to get him touches. You can't just ignore him.
No, you can't. You can't ignore A.J. Green. You got to feed him the ball like they've been doing the past few years. They force feed him. You got to force the ball.
But you got Revis on that side too.
It's going to be a one-on-one thing. Two all-pros going against each other. Hey, I feel like, I'm pretty sure Dalton is like, he feels like his guy's going to win. So, especially the way the NFL is set up, throw a deep ball is either caught or pass interference. So, therefore, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, interception's like a punt.
Yeah, it's a free play, man. But even though I'm saying that matchup, I favor A.J. Green, I still think the Jets is going to win this game.
I agree. I think the Jets are hungry too. I don't know. I don't know what it is. They just seem like they're more business-like this year. I can't explain it. All right, Oakland at New Orleans.
All right. I'm taking the Raiders because I think the Saints haven't fixed that defense yet. So Carr is going to have a huge day. I think the defense is going to get after Breeze, even though that offense is very explosive. You can never knock Mr. Breeze, because he comes to play every Sunday, and especially when they're in New Orleans, they put up points. But I just think them not fixing that defense and the mixture of Derek Carr and that offense, man, they're going to kill it.
I am going to take Oakland as well, despite my theory of traveling coasts. I hate teams that have to play a 1 o'clock game that are on the West Coast. I just don't think that their bodies are ready for that. It's like, what, 9 o'clock? No, let's see. It's a 1 o'clock game. It's a 3-hour difference, right? So to them, it's like
2 hours.
10. It's only 2 hours. So it's like 11 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. I've always been leery of that, traveling the coast.
They'll leave Friday.
Yeah, but I think Oakland's going to score a lot against New Orleans. New Orleans still doesn't have enough defense, for my liking. But going to go with the Raiders. I think the Raiders start off 1-0. All right, next game on the docket today, AFC West matchup. San Diego goes into Kansas City, into Arrowhead, one of the toughest places to play, so I've heard. Who do you like there?
I like the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a tough divisional game. I think Alex Smith is going to make enough plays to get the job done. It's that simple. And like I say, the Chargers are just, they're bad, to say the least. So
yeah,
I'm going with the Chiefs.
I agree. I mean, I'll agree with you that they're bad, to say the least. Plus, they got that top 3 pick that they haven't really even seen yet. He's probably not even going to play, Bosa. So we'll see. But, yeah, Kansas City's the call. All right, you got the Dolphins going all the way up to Seattle to face the Seahawks on an afternoon game in Seattle. Who do you like there? Seattle.
The Seahawks.
All day.
Easily, because of 4 players. Russell Wilson, Jimmy Graham, Earl Thomas, and Richard Sherman.
Yeah, enough said. That's the biggest spread of the week. That's 10.5-point favorite.
Insane.
So,
double-digit spreads. You know there's a blowout waiting to happen.
It tells you all you need to know. Hey, folks, if you're ever in doubt over who to pick, let Vegas tell you. Vegas is telling you this ain't going to be close. Seattle with the W. Now watch, Miami will win and make us all look stupid. All right, Detroit at Indianapolis. An interesting matchup of teams that are trying to find an identity, really. Who do you like here?
I'm going to take the Detroit Lions. I think Indy's secondary is banged up. And I think it's going to hurt them all 4 quarters. But luck will keep this game manageable. But I think at the end of the day, Detroit is going to win this game.
It'd be interesting to see what the Lions do with Megatron not on the field. I think it may help them a little that they're going to spread the ball around a little bit more. But I'm going to take Indianapolis at home. Home opener, you got an elite quarterback, even though their offensive line is garbage. Detroit doesn't do much to scare me, so I think the Colts will win off of just pure energy and emotion. I'm going to go with Indy. All right, This is a big matchup here. The New York Football Giants, potential NFC champions. I can't believe I said that. Anyway, against the Dallas Cowboys, who will be starting their rookie Dak Prescott, who we all agree played great in the preseason, but preseason's preseason is vanilla with no game plan, and so it doesn't really amount to much. But who do you like in this one?
I'm going with the New York City Giants because usually this game, no matter what the personnel is a tough game. I'm taking the Giants because I don't know what Dak is going to give me. I just don't know. Between the bright lights and the first game jitters, you just don't know what a quarterback is going to give you. I think the guy's a phenomenal athlete and all, but he's going against a well-tooled athlete in Eli Manning. I'm going to take Eli.
Yeah. I'm going to go with New York as well. I'm excited to see what their passing attack does. I think that Shepard is such a big difference maker because, I mean, if you played obviously in the league as a defensive back, who are you going to really shade your coverage to as far as the safeties are concerned? I mean, they're going to be in a 22 shell, my guess, the whole day, right? I mean, you're going to have 2 deep safeties and probably play both your corners in the zone. I mean, what else can you do? You got 3 guys that can get open.
I have no clue what they're going to do. I can say, try to cover the guys.
I just don't see Dallas having the cover men to keep up with everything they're going to throw at them.
And they don't.
So
that's
exactly
the problem. They don't.
So I'm taking the Giants.
Along with Dallas has 3-4 guys in their front, 7 suspended the first 4 weeks. Yeah. I'm taking the Giants here.
Sunday night game will be a doozy. I wish Brady was playing, but he's not. Patriots head out to Arizona, going to face your NFC potential champions, Cardinals. Who do you got, Patriots or Cards?
Cards win easily because of two reasons. No Brady, no Gronk. Cards win.
Yeah, I agree. Same reason. No Brady, no Gronk. Plus traveling coasts. Arizona gets the W under the primetime lights. And Monday night, 2 games. Real quick, we got to go as our show is wrapping up. Pittsburgh at Washington. Who do you like?
I like Pittsburgh. The Steelers will miss Le'Veon Bell and Martavis Bryant, but Big Ben is going to do more than enough to get them over the hump.
I echo that sentiment. The Steelers are going to win on the road. And then the final game of week 1, the Rams and the Niners. Who do you like?
Rams. Ride Todd Gurley. Just ride him. Just ride him.
Yeah, the Rams front 7 is no joke. They're going to make that quarterback Gabbert's life just a living hell. They're going to eat him up. So we both like the Rams on that one. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we got to let you go for our second episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Steve O'Reilly. That's my partner, Fabian Washington. Fabo, what do you got to say before we bounce?
We at you.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. You can catch us every Tuesday and every Friday, 8 to 10, as we preview and then review every week NFL action, Florida Boys Sports. Listen, learn, and laugh. Have a good night, everybody.
Boar's Head invites you to enlighten your senses. Introducing Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. Inspired by Japanese master chefs, our signature teriyaki glaze is crafted with garlic, ginger, and a hint of brown sugar, then paired with our tender, slow-roasted chicken breast for a flavor that's sweet, savory, remarkably bold. Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken, the bold flavor of Japan. Now available at your local Publix deli.